Hello everyone and welcome to the second chapter of this course. My name is Željana Poucher from the Faculty of Maritime Studies, and on behalf of Professor Eli Marušić, I will present to you the second part of the topic sustainability and sustainable development. According to the World Tourism Organization, sustainable tourism should make optimal use of environmental resources, respect the socio-cultural authenticity of host communities, ensure viable long-term economic operations, providing socio-economic benefits to all stakeholders that are fairly distributed. Responsible tourism in turn refers to the responsibility that both visitors and hosts take to ensure this sustainability is addressed and also maintained. In practical terms, sustainable tourism, responsible tourism, ecotourism, green tourism, and similar designations are often used equally in the same context. Why is responsible tourism important? Because it minimizes negative environmental, social, economic impacts, generates greater economic benefits for local people, involves local people in decisions that affect their lives and life changes, makes positive contribution to the conservation of natural cultural heritage, provides more enjoyable experiences for tourists, provides access for physically challenged people, and it's culturally sensitive, engenders respect between tourists and hosts, and builds local pride and confidence. Sustainable development is based on three fundamental pillars, and those are environmental, social, and economic. Regarding the environmental pillar, it is founded on a commitment to protect the environment by reducing risks and measuring the environmental impacts of companies' activities. On the other hand, social sustainability or social pillar includes environmental justice, human health, resource security, and education, among other important social elements of society. Under the three pillars concept, efforts to promote social sustainability should also aim to foster economic and environmental benefits. Economic pillar is based on companies' ability to contribute to economic development and growth. In other words, they must encourage and promote the protection of the environment by limiting the risks posed by their production. As you can see here, we have fourth pillar, cultural pillar, that boosts cohesion and support among stakeholders. What that means? Integrating the cultural lore is an essential component of any company. As unifying force, culture helps to build real social ties which result in more dynamic exchanges, better group work, and therefore an increase in the productivity of employees. Moreover, culture boosts motivation and education through intellectual stimulation. Overall, the cultural pillar of sustainable development plays a crucial role in the individual performance of companies' stakeholder. All of these pillars, ecological, social, and economical, are described in detail on this slide. Regarding the culture, it is a complementary factor as it shapes our meaning of development and determines the actions of communities all around the world. It could be said that sustainable development is not defined by three fundamental pillars, but through four major dimensions, and those are social, economic, environmental, and culture. Because culture is thus a driver of social values. It contributes to global economic sustainability, and it is as important as the environment to humankind because of the heritage it represents. Application of the three pillars, ecological and environmental pillar, you can improve corporate social responsibility strategy, social pillar to ensure the well-being of employees, economic pillar to optimize budget, and cultural pillar to boost cohesion and support among stakeholders. Regarding the tourism, social economic overview, we have it. The travel and tourism sector supports 1 in 10 jobs worldwide and generates 10.4% of the world's GDP. Maritime and coastal tourism is economically profitable, and the maritime and coastal tourism sector generates considerable environmental damage, and it's overly dependent on natural resources. To support visitors with varied goods and services, pressure on natural resources can become quickly unsustainable. Also, maritime and coastal tourism causes marine and freshwater pollution through the discharge of sewage and disposal of considerable quantities of solid waste. Also generates indirect land activities that are linked to the infrastructure constructions that are responsible for considerable amounts of pollution and destruction of natural habitats. As you can see here, we have key impacts of coastal and maritime tourism activities on natural ecosystems, such as recreational boating and yachting, cruising, skin diving, swimming, and many others. And you can see here the pressure on ecosystems and impacted ecosystems. There are 11 principles of sustainable tourism in the United Nations, such as economic viability, local prosperity, employment quality, social equity, visitor fulfillment, local control, community well-being, cultural richness, physical integrity, biological diversity, and resource efficiency. In the 2015, the United Nations adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. With this agenda, 17 Sustainable Development Goals were defined, and they provide worldwide guidance for addressing the global challenges facing the international community. It is about better protecting the natural foundations of life and our planet everywhere and for everyone, and preserving people's opportunities to live in dignity and prosperity across generations. Three of them have impact on coastal and maritime tourism, and those are SDG 8, SDG 12, and SDG 14. Economic growth, decent work and economic growth, sustainable consumption and production, ocean conservation, life below water. All of 17 goals are shown in this image. Here you can read in detail about the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And it's important to say that they are integrated and indivisible and balance the three dimensions of sustainable development: the economic, social, and environmental. At the heart of the 2030 agenda are five critical dimensions, and those are partnership, peace, prosperity, planet, and people, also known as the five P's. Traditionally viewed through the lens of three core elements: social inclusion, economic growth, environmental protection, the concept of sustainable development has taken on a richer meaning with the adoption of the 2030 Agenda, which builds upon this traditional approach by adding two critical components, and those are partnership and peace. General sustainability sits as the core of these five dimensions, and they inform development policy decisions. This means that for a development intervention to be sustainable, it must take into account the social, economic, and environmental consequences it generates and lead to conscious choices in terms of the trade-offs, synergies, and spin-offs it creates. Additionally, policymakers need to ensure that any intervention is developed, owned, and carried forward with the relevant partnership and leverages the appropriate means of implementation. And in this way, the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs together represent a holistic approach to understanding and tackling problems by guiding us to ask the right questions at the right time.